It seems to me that examiners spend an awful long time cooking. Either that or they're just generally interested in food because there's a lot of recipe questions. They tend to go like this: Christmas pudding for 8, and we get the recipe down here. And this is for 8 people. And we are asked, the ingredients for 8 use 120 grams of flour. You want to cook for 12. How much flour do you need? Or the second type of question is, the ingredients for 8 use 120 grams of flour. I have 210 grams of flour. How many can I make? They're the two questions. Let's look how we answer each of them. How much do I need? The ingredients for 8 use 120 grams of flour. I want to cook for 12. How much flour do I need? Well, let's call it a method hack, but I'll offer you a choice. Scale up from the single portion. So this is a method if all else has failed and you've forgotten the scale factor method. Serving for 8 equals 120 grams of flour. I'm going to divide by 8 to get servings for 1 would use 15 grams of flour. So I'll times that by 12. Serving for 12 would use 180 grams of flour. So the advantage of this is that you can probably always think of it. It's a sort of straightforward method to go through a serving the quantity for 1, and it's very easily checked. The alternative is to find the scale factor. I have 8 ingredients for 8, and I want 12, the ingredients for 12. The scale factor is what I want over what I have. If I want 10 toys and I've got 5, I want twice as many. Here, it's I want 12, I've got 8, and that equals 1.5. So everything gets multiplied by 1.5 when we're cooking for 12. So the flour needed is 120 times 1.5 equals 180. You will be relieved to know that 180 grams of flour are required, whichever method you use. Thank goodness for that. The second type of question, how many can I make? The ingredients for 8 use 120 grams of flour. I have 110 grams of flour. How many can I make? Here it comes. You won't be surprised to find there's yet again another choice. Choice number 1, you scale it from a single portion. Serving for 8 uses 120 grams, divide by 8, serving for 1 uses 15 grams of flour. Right, I've got 110 grams of flour, so 110 grams of flour will make, I will divide 110 by 15. That'll tell me how many times 15 goes into 110, and it's 14. So I can make 14 or serve 14 or whatever. Or I can use a scale factor. I have 110 and I need 120 to make 8. So I can make 110 divided by 120. If I had twice as much, I would have a scale factor of 2, but I haven't. I've only got a 210 over 120, and I multiply that by the original number I could serve, and that equals 14. So again, this is the more mathematically sophisticated. But this is what I would do if I was a bit flustered. I can't remember very much. Generally, I'm in an exam situation. Best of luck. Let's have a look at some examples. Example 1. Oh, here we are. This is a recipe for a Christmas pudding. For 8 people. Anna needs to serve pudding to 12 people. Complete the recipe for 12 people. Okay, so let's have a think. We've got 12 people. We had 8. We could scale up from a single portion, method 1, or find the scale factor of ingredients. What should we do first? Let's do the one that a fallback plan. Butter for 8 is 110, so we divide by 8. Butter for 1 is a very attractive number, 13.75 grams. And now I multiply by 12. Butter for 12, 165 grams. Nice round looking number. Like it. I'm happy with that as an answer. The alternative, find the scale factor. Right. Dividing by 8 and timesing by 12 is the same as 12 divided by 8. And that would be 1.5. Everything here gets multiplied by 1.5 down to here because we're serving for 12, not 8. Scale factor is 1.5. 110 times 1.5, you'll be pleased to know, is equal to 165. So again, we've got 210s. We can stick 160. Oh no, we're going to do it over here. 180 times 1.5 is 270. And 4 times 1.5, 4 spoons of mincemeat, is 6. And they are put in here. And that's that question, or part of that question, done. Oh, by coincidence, here's the second type of question. Harold is making Christmas pudding. He only has 315 grams of flour, but plenty of everything else. What is the greatest number of servings he can make? Think. Find flour for one portion. Yeah, let's do that. Flour for one equals 180 divided by 8. It's 22.5. And now I take how many I've got, 115 grams, and that'll make 115 divided by 22.5 equals 14. Another round number. Very nice. Okay, check it. Well, the only thing you can do is check your calculations and also check if your answers are reasonable, which these are. At my moment of joy. We had a little think. We have the choice. Which method shall we use? I, for one, like them both. This one, if I don't really want to use a lot of brain power. This one, if I'm really confident what I'm doing. Everything's increased by 1.5, a scale factor of 1.5. So the numbers are up by 1.5. Just multiply everything by 1.5. The second question, the easiest way, I think, is to find out how many grams will provide one portion, and then divide how many you've got by that amount, and that'll give you how many portions you're making, but it's down to you. So to calculate, think, calculate, and a check. Second example. James is using a recipe to make bolognese sauce. Oh dear, this is in pounds and the questions are in grams. Nasty. So he knows that a pound is 16 ounces. And that 1 ounce is 28 grams, about. Show the quantity of beef needed for 4 people is 336. Right, that's for 4 people. That's for 4 people. Okay, so that's good. Find a pound in grams and then multiply by 3/4. Well, that seems sensible. We've got this information here, and we know it's 3/4 of a pound we're looking for. So 1 ounce equals 28 grams times by 16. 16 ounces equals 1 pound equals 448. It's useful to be able to do this because it might well pop up in a question. And it'll be a tricky question with good marks. And now that I know that is a pound's worth. And don't forget, a kilogram is about 2 pounds, 2.2 pounds actually. So it's going to be right. It's going to be just less than 500 grams. I multiply by 3/4. 3/4 of a pound is 336 grams, which is what we were aiming to show. Very happy with that. Let's move on. Thinking, how much beef is needed to make bolognese sauce for 10 people? Right, find the beef for 1, then multiply by 10. This is what I would say is the easy way. Beef for 4 equals 336. I've just worked that out. Divide by 4, beef for 1 is 84 times 10. Beef for 10, 840. Other methods do exist, but this one's good enough and it gives me an answer I feel very confident with. James is using 420 grams of tomatoes. How many servings is he making? Oh, it's the old question now. We've got all these tomatoes. Right, find tomatoes for 1 portion. Tomatoes for 4 is 10 ounces times 28 grams is 280 grams. Divide by 4 tomatoes for 1 is 70. We're using 420, so that'll make 420 divided by 70 equals 6. Nice round number. Always like that. Check. Check the calculations. Are the answers reasonable? Well, that's very reasonable. That gives us, 10 is 2.5 times 4, so that times 2.5 is 240. I did that earlier. And 420 divided by 76. I'm very happy with that. A moment of joy. As I say, these questions come up, well, every other year, but it's worth knowing how to do them because they might be applicable for other things. Have a think, do a calculation, and finally check. Right, hope that was useful. Loads more videos coming. Do subscribe and enjoy the fun. And if you're doing an exam, best of luck.